The Chargers facing a relocation lawsuit, and that hearing is scheduled for today. The NFL is looking to dismiss the lawsuit, but a judge is going to make that decision.
So joining us now, we have legal analyst Brian Watkins, founder of Brian E. Watkins and Associates. Good to see you, Brian.
Hey, good to have me.
So I'm glad that we have you here because I want to know, is this really going to happen? Suing the city because the Chargers, suing the Chargers, excuse me, because they left us. It sounds like one of those bad breakups that just won't end. So is there a chance that the city of San Diego could make some money off the team that left us?
Well, that's a good question. You know, the NFL is trying to knock this lawsuit out, right? What we call a demur, which is right in the beginning saying you don't have no right to even come to court. And that's one of their arguments is that Ruth Hendricks, who's actually the plaintiff in the case, who's just a taxpayer of San Diego, they're saying that she has no right to sue on behalf of the city. They're also saying that the city knew about this and they didn't sue, so Ruth has no right to go back in time and sue on behalf of the city.
Oh, that's interesting part of all that.
Now, of course, this also kind of ties into what happened with the Rams, right? So how does that play into, would that factor into a judge's decision in making their decision here in San Diego, or is that kind of completely separate?
The circumstances were a little bit different. Now, Missouri did win that lawsuit, and the city of Missouri was part of that lawsuit. In this case, this is actually an individual taxpayer who's bringing this lawsuit. So the question is whether or not she has standing to sue on behalf of us, us other taxpayers. Right. And the other issue would be, who gets the money if they win? Does the city get the money? Ruth's paying the legal fees. The city chose not to sue. So the city did not incur legal fees and fight the fight. So if she pays the money and fights the fight, and you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here to fight this to the end.
Does she get the money?
Who gets the money? So these are a lot of issues here.
Every past Charger fan should get something.
Yeah, right? How do you break that down?
Yeah.
Exactly. You've been to the Charger game? Show me your ticket stub.
Right.
Which I have a lot of those. And yes,
go.
it still hurts, I'm telling you. So Brian, I'm curious to go back to what you mentioned about the city. The NFL is saying the city knew that the Chargers were going to leave before they were going to leave? Is that what it is?
You know, the funny twist here is that the city attorney was Mike Aguirre.
Right.
And he is the plaintiff's attorney, Mike Aguirre. So he was involved in the city's dealings back then, and now he's the plaintiff's lawyer now. Okay. And so the lawyers are alleging he's the same counsel. The city knew about the negotiations and chose not to do nothing in 2024. And so Ruth now can't go back here in 2022 and sue on behalf of the city. They should have done it back in 2004 if they wanted to. The fact that they didn't proves they didn't want to. So, I mean, does this mean that, you know, Aguirre knew all along the inner workings of what the city was up to, and so now he thinks he has a chance? That's exactly what the NFL is alleging. Hey, you were involved in the negotiations. You knew that they were planning on moving, so how dare you come up here and say the city didn't know and the Chargers did something wrong? I see. Okay. And then the fact that they may have been planning to leave San Diego, what, almost a decade before they left, how big of a part is that? Can that be proven? Well, that's tough. You know, that's the old weasel out of the deal, which is, you know, something better came along. We entered into a deal, but oh my gosh, something better came along. So now let me give you fraudulent reasons for breaking the deal, when the truth is I wanted to leave because something better came along. So if they were in negotiations well before that, that's what we call like an anticipatory breach, which means, I got to get out of this deal that I'm in now, something's better come along. And that is actually a breach of contract. So that they do have an issue there. So. That's what they're trying to go after. Exactly, saying that it was in fact a breach of contract.
If a judge today were to dismiss this, would there be any response from that? Could there be an appeal in the process, or does that pretty much end it?
No, they can't appeal. What they're trying to do, and the NFL is trying to do right now, is file what they call a demur, which is they filed a complaint, a lawsuit, and they're trying to say you can't even bring this lawsuit. So it's not really, you know, litigation as to the merits of the case. They're trying to say you have no right to even come to court, and you can always appeal that. It's very difficult to kick people out of court. People have the right to court, no matter how frivolous their case may be or how much lack of evidence they have. People have the right to come to court to air their grievances and put on their case and try to prove their case. So to prevent somebody from trying to prove their case in front of a jury is quite difficult. Okay. And Brian, I know this is one of those questions, but is there any way NFL can come to San Diego? You know, come on. They're building a nice new stadium.
Yeah, that's right. Setting the stage, right?
And LA is chock full of sports teams. You got the Clippers that are good now. You got the Lakers. You got the Dodgers that just won the Rams. World Series. You got the Rams that just won the Super Bowl. We want NFL. UCLA and USC. So You know?
Share a little bit of it. NFL, hey, I mean, San Diego, the fans showed up. I mean, we were loyal. I remember still the day they left, how sad it was. It still is like in my soul, it hurts.
Sunday was fun day, and it was a little funner when the Chargers were
Right.
So much
Okay,
fun.
a lot riding on today's decision.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know if a win would make us feel any better, right? I don't know.
The lawsuit still has a long way to go.
Right,
all this is saying now is that you have the right to do this lawsuit.
Okay. And Ruth Hendricks, she's trying. She's fighting for it. So
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, but don't break out your Chargers jerseys for this coming up season just yet.
Yeah. All right. Brian, thank you very much
Thanks
for joining
for being
us.
with us. We
Explaining
appreciate
it to us. Yeah.